Good day. Welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I'm your host, the voice of reason. So, in this episode, I wanted to talk about my analysis on the 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, even 5 year outlook for the former state of Ethiopia. And I got to tell you, it's a very challenging and difficult piece to attempt to analyze and put together, compile data, and give a what I would believe would be an accurate analysis of forward-facing events. Now, it was much less challenging. It was easier to predict and analyze what was going to happen during the course of the conflict while the Ethiopian and Eritrean army had invaded the Tigray region, and how that outcome was going to end. I was very convinced on that outcome. The only issue that really caused and created any sort of forward-facing issues for me was the issue with the Eritrean army inside of the Tigray region. That was kind of the catalyst that made it a little bit tricky in terms of predicting where this conflict was going to go. Now, with that being said, it did end up, the events occurred as I believed they were going to occur. Now, facing forward, looking into the future, going into 2022, 2023, 2024, all the way out to 2025 and beyond, where does this go? It is much more challenging to try and predict that because of the size of the region. Okay, Ethiopia is a very large region. When I say Ethiopia, I'm being all inclusive of all the states, to some extent even Eritrea. But you have a lot of players in this game right now, and I hate to call it a game because it affects many millions of people's lives in a very negative way, and that's unfortunate. But there's one issue that I can absolutely, I'm 100% certain of, and that is I do not believe that the Tigray region will be part of the federal government, the federal state of what we now know as Ethiopia in the future. I think the social fabric has been torn, the social contract has been obliterated. The acts that occurred inside of the Tigray region by the Ethiopian federal government, by the Eritrean army, by the Amhara militias are so grievous that I don't know if you can repair what occurred and have a homogeneous state, have all these regions together as one unified government outside of some sort of cataclysmic military event on the part of the Ethiopian federal government and the Eritrean army and whomever that would basically go in and obliterate the people of Tigray. And what I mean by that, I mean you would have to probably see ethnic cleansing on a mass scale, which we've seen that in certain areas. But the Ethiopian military and the Amhara militias were not able to ethnically cleanse obviously the central and eastern portions of the Tigray region, and that would be really the only. And you're talking draconian steps that would have to take place in order to see that occur. Is it possible to have some sort of loose confederation of states? Possibly, but at this point in time, I don't think the Prosperity Party and especially the government of Abiy Ahmed is looking to do that right now, and not to do that even in the future. So with that being said, I do not believe there would be a military solution on the part of the Ethiopian federal government, what remains of the Ethiopian federal government, the Amhara militias, to reinvade the Tigray region and subjugate it. I think that would be incredibly difficult to do and is unlikely. And I do believe the ultimate outcome, whether you're looking at 6 months, 1 year, 2 years from now, is the birth of a new and independent state, and that would be the state of Tigray. And how that would work, what would occur, uh, not sure yet. Very, very challenging issue in and of itself to take up. But I do believe that there's been so much damage done that the Tigray region could not be in a relationship with the Amhara region, with the federal government at this point. I do not see it occurring. Is it possible? Yeah, anything is possible in this day and age, from what I'm seeing. But at this point, I really believe that the Tigray region will be fully independent in some sort of way. It will not be answerable to the government in Addis Ababa outside of draconian military measures. Okay, and what happens with the rest of Ethiopia? Again, 6 months from now, the way the current conflict is going, I've talked about this before. I think at some point we see the possibility of the Amhara region either seize control of the federal government, or it too goes its own way in some sort of way or another. Uh, how that would occur, again, this rapidly devolving situation. It is, again, really unfortunate, but at this point, I do not see a future for a cohesive state where you have a strong Ethiopian federal government that claims to represent all ethnic groups inside of Ethiopia. I think that whole idea has been burned to the ground because of the military adventurism and the allowing of an external state actor to come into your own state and kill people. That's what occurred. So I don't know how that central federalized government would have any sort of validity at this point. And that's my basis for really where this former state known as Ethiopia, is heading. And I know some people really take offense to that, and I think a lot of those people are either not living in the country, or they are possibly living in Addis Ababa, and they feel and are experiencing something completely different that's going on in the rest of the country right now. What is occurring inside of Addis Ababa, and I talked about this before, is different than what people are experiencing in the Western Oromia region or the Southern Oromia region, or anywhere else in the country, with possibly the exception of the Amhara region, who at this point seems to have consolidated control over the federal government and has a lot of say in terms of where the federal government is heading. And at some point that could also fracture depending on what occurs. But again, this is just a hypothesis in terms of where things could be heading. But I would say that the absolute part of this is the Tigray region becomes, it is independent. It's de facto independent as we speak. And that will continue. And again, outside of draconian military measures, I don't see that changing. And obviously, both sides have taken to the military solution, and right now, the upper hand the advantage is on the side of the Tigray region. Just militarily speaking, right now, we're seeing better combatant commanders at a high level, and even in many cases lower levels as well, in terms of company commanders, battalion commanders, and so forth. They're just much more experienced at this point, and they've been more experienced even from the start of the conflict. But that is my synopsis, and I will have more. Again, this is a continuing and evolving situation, and given the size and scope and complexity of the former state of Ethiopia, it's very difficult to just say, I believe this is going to happen, and have that be of fair certain, so to speak. Anyway, that's all I have. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day, everybody.